and we go into what has been a persistent and a very painful sight to behold of some of the streets of Nigeria. It has been some very, very painful moments for Nigerians who have at most time gone to the filling stations where they have had to queue for several hours, spending limited hours queuing for fuel at several filling stations, trying to get the petrol to fuel inside their cars. The prices have also been fluctuating. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has said that the private depot owners should be blamed for the ravaging fuel scarcity. But what exactly is the true state of things? In Abuja, the nation's capital, you can see unending queues, long queues of vehicles waiting for their turn to get fuel. And in Lagos also, a similar situation is happening. And this is all leading between the nation's capital and the commercial nerve center of the country, Lagos, to unending traffic congestion in those major cities. Perhaps this is happening in your city. You can tweet to me on this program, and I'd like to know what exactly is happening. If you're in Port Harcourt, if you're in Kano, if you're in Kaduna, is this the same thing happening where you live? Wherever you may be living across the country, tweet to me on my Twitter handle and let's know what exactly is going on. But these are some of the views of some Nigerians who met on the street today, and these are their feelings about the situation of fuel in the country.
I've been here since morning. You can see there is no even hope that we get, because you see the way cars are just bypassing and entering. And because I'm a good Nigerian, I would love to read the right thing. When I come, I have to stay online so that when they get to my turn, I will buy. But you can see people entering everywhere since morning. I have been here, nothing to do, nowhere to go. I need to get the fuel, so I have to stay. It's affecting me. Nothing has even entered my pocket today. What will I do? I need the fuel.
If they know there will be an increment, they should just add whatever they want to add, so that everybody will know that this is what they want to sell the fuel, and we'll be getting the fuel easily. No need of queuing and suffering before we got the fuel.
I've not got it for it now. You are saying the Christmas will be made available. That is how they keep on saying, and the way things are getting worse and worse every time. To me, I'm not confident that fuel will be available during Christmas.
It doesn't appear so, because the festive periods are drawing in already, and we know Nigeria, usually there is fuel scarcity around festive period, so I think it will linger through Christmas. I even saw on the paper on Saturday that it might linger till January, and honestly, at that point, I don't know how Nigerians will survive, because it's already becoming very unbearable.
Thank you so much. You heard some of the views of some Nigerians there on the street. That's today on the street of Abuja. Let's break this down for you and get a sense of what this means. What's the sense of the campaigns anyways, the politicking, when people are groaning and suffering, not only those who have their own vehicles are suffering, these fuel scarcity situation is causing gridlock in most of the major cities, and also is impacting on the price of transportation. So if you don't have a vehicle, you feel the pinch by how much you pay extra to transport from one point to the other. So the question is, why all this politicking? And why all this politics when the average Nigerians are suffering? And so we'd like to dissect tonight, what is the real cause of this fuel scarcity, and what could be the solution? Nigerians can't keep going on like this, and nothing is going to be done. Something has to be done, isn't it? So let's get a view of some experts in this. I'm being joined by the president of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Chinedu Okoronko. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. You live here in Abuja, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good. So, and I have joining me former president of the trade union Congress, Mr. Peter Esele, who joins us virtually from Lagos. So we have someone living in Lagos and someone living in Abuja, so we can, of course, have a sense of what is happening in both cities. Let me begin with you. I mean, you lead an association that fingers have been pointed at your association, that your association is part of the cause of the fuel scarcity. Is it true?
I think I want to debunk that, and it's very, very important for you to know within the chain where we belong. This product, PMS, is the product the government is still paying subsidy. That is to say, government brings it in an NPC. And when this product is brought, remember that nearly all the NNPC depots are not working because of vandalism. Good. And you have the depot owners.
Sorry, say that again.
Remember, NNPC depots, most of them, at least over 80% of them are not working.
How many of their depots do we have?
We have at least 21 that I can count.
And most of it are not working.
And what happens when this product, when they bring it in, they now begin to put in private depot owners and pay them throughput charges. Now, and when this product is pumped into those depots, the owners of that depots claim to have the ownership. Remember, we control over 80% of the market, independent petroleum market. And the situation where my members cannot easily access this product, and they will now be made to buy from these tank farm owners, that is third party.
So our Nigerians get it right.
Good.
What you are pointing to us tonight is that, okay, so this is NNPC.
Good.
Party A.
Yes.
That is responsible for bringing it into Nigeria.
Good.
Because of the lack of them to distribute
because of the vandalism.
You are the one who would take it to the retailers. You are the retailers.
Good.
So because of vandalism, so there is a third party between you and NNPC.
The owners of these tank farms.
The owners of private tank farms.
Yes.
Which is supposed to be the work of NNPC.
That is in naturality. It's supposed to be the NNPC, but the NNPC will now use.
So instead of NNPC distributing to you,
good,
they give it to these owners of these tank farms. These
the owners just get it properly.
Absolutely. I want Nigerians to understand. Because this it looks like magic sometimes.
We're just getting names that are not proper for us to get.
Please go ahead.
When this product is gotten from the mother vessel, those private tank farm owners will go and bring it.
Yeah.
They will not put their costs, put everything, and you don't expect them not to sell to break even. But these are the people who would now in turn say to us. Remember, the NNPC price, those who get from NNPC directly, is 148 naira, 19 kobo. Good. But this private tank farm, because by the time they begin to put in their
own charges,
hiring vessel, NIMESA, MPA, a lot of things are associated. I don't blame them anyway. But what we are here now is to profile a solution that will put all these things off.
So let's look at it, break it down. So you are supposed to naturally get it at 148 naira 19 kobo.
Yes.
But these middlemen, these third parties, when they deliver it to you, at what cost do you get it?
From their depot.
Yes.
You can get it now 185 to either 210.
So they would have added about 40 naira on it.
Because their excuse will be that they hired vessel to take it from the mother vessel, pay all these charges, and the dollar, because of the dollar, some of these things are dollarized, and you have no choice. I think we can come as a country to see how we put some of these dollarization thing. Use naira and pay some of these things so that.
So let's. We're going to get to it.
Good.
We have enough time.
Very well.
Because this is a major issue, and from where I'm sitting, I don't think it makes sense if the basic things of our lives are not resolved, and we're looking for frivolities. Let's fix some of the basic things as a people. I mean, if we still have some blood running in our veins,
it's very important.
Our people cannot be suffering, and we're doing some other things that are not less important, anyways. Now. Do you get the right or do you get supplies?
I'm telling you the problem.
No.
Supplies, how will you get the supplies?
There's a reason why I'm asking this question. It's expensive.
Good.
Right?
Good.
But do you get the supplies?
Yes, those who have the muscle and everything
to buy and they will buy. So it's not as if there's scarcity of the product.
No, this product is there. It's just because of what I've just
said. The price variations.
And then PC have enough stock. But because of this distribution something, that is where we need to do something. IPMAN has about 5 zones. You can designate some of these products in various zones so that the accessibility of this thing will still be at a cost that is not even that big. We are ready to, chip in small thing to cushion some of this so that we can still remain within the margin. I think that is the way to go.
So you are aware that some of these products are being sold in some places in the country at about 500 naira?
Well, I don't know, but I've been hearing news like that. Somebody told me that in Calabar, it's about that price, but I'm yet to confirm it from my members there.
That would be almost a 400% increase in the price.
That is what I was told.
So from the point of view of IPMAN, that is a major reason.
The distribution where independent marketers that controls 80% of this business should be giving their product in their own tank. An MPC they still pay throughput. They can say maybe Masters Energy in Port Harcourt, those in distant zone go there and load. Maybe NIPCO in Lagos, those in western zone go there and load their product. Just like that. So
in all of the zones where your members are across the country, this is experienced.
Very well.
So the scarcity is nationwide.
I think so.
All right, let me bring in Mr. Peter Esele, who joins us from Lagos. Mr. Esele, if we can see your face, so give us an understanding from your own standpoint. You heard what Mr. Okoronkwo said. As far as he's concerned, from the point of view of his association, the reason, the cause for the scarcity is not from their own end. The scarcity is being caused by the chain of distribution and some of the bottlenecks in terms of the price variations. Give us a sense of what exactly is going on, Mr. Esele, from your own point of view. I think we're having some connection issues with Mr. Esele. But we'll take a break, everyone. When we come back, of course, we'll be able to get Mr. Esele back. And there are crucial questions as to the reasons and the real reasons behind this fuel scarcity and how we can resolve it. It is a biting situation for many Nigerians across the country. Join us again, everyone, as we continue the conversation. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Our attention tonight is in the politics of the fuel scarcity. How can a nation go on as normal when its citizens every day queue up at filling station and spending hours they're supposed to be spending on productive activities, waiting and queuing up for fuel? Doesn't make sense at all. But let's get to the conversation going. I have with me the president of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Chinedu Okonkwo, is here live in our Abuja studio, and the former president of the Trade Union Congress, Mr. Peter Esele, is live for us virtually from Lagos. Thank you so much, Mr. Esele. It's good to see you. Give us a sense of this nagging problem of fuel scarcity that we keep seeing on the streets of Nigeria. From what we understand, this is a nationwide crisis.
Sheil, thank you for having me. It's a nationwide crisis. It's a crisis that we are all getting used to. But again, it keeps coming and we have to talk about it. But I don't think there's been any difference. But what we have currently, what's playing out now, it has to do with the issue of, first you have the issue of distribution, and then you also have the issue of pricing. But do we have product in the country? Yes, NNPC have enough product, but what you have now is the issue of pricing. The tank owners, let me just define it this way. You have somebody moving petrol from point A to point B, and the tank owners need to use what we call a daughter vessel to get the product from the sea to their tank. And in doing all of that, it costs them money. And the money is costing them is that hiring a vessel is not in naira, it's done in dollars. And then these tank farm owners need to source for those dollars in the parallel market. And you and I know what has been happening in the parallel market in the last 1 month, where you've been having price fluctuation. And then what you have is that the tank farm owners are now asking that they need to get value for their money. They can't now go ahead and be selling at a loss. So if you are expecting to get a product, the minimum you can get a product from the tank farm now is about between 200 and 215 naira. So if somebody is getting a product wants to sell a product between 200 and 215 naira, and you are telling him to now, how would the retailers now sell at 175? So that's a fundamental challenge. So when people look at it, whether the retailers now, they don't have anything to sell. So that's why you are having scarcity. And the tank farm owners also need to recoup their investment, the money they've expended in getting those daughter vessels. And so what you have in all of this mix is when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. Pardon my cliche, but that's what is happening now. And the ordinary Nigerians are the ones suffering for it with all the long queues everywhere.
So who is the elephant? Who are these elephants? Let us call a spade a spade. Who are these people? Because we've gotten to a point in our lives as a people that we need to start naming names. We need to start calling out those who are responsible for the hardship that Nigerians are facing. And that's what we want to get to the bottom of the matter. I'd actually put a question to the president of IPMAN, because for those who are in the sector who says IPMAN is the cause, he said, no, it's not our problem. Blame the situation, and he explained himself on the crisis. Mr. Sele, from your own point of view, let us name names. Who are we to hold responsible in this situation?
First, it has to do with the policy of the government. Because whether you like, we say NNPC is now a limited liability company, it has to do with the government. What's the policy of the government? So the government says they will pay subsidy. So if government says they will pay subsidy, then government need to continue to pay the subsidy. If government says they are not paying subsidy, then government need to also come out and tell Nigerians who are not paying subsidy, this is the new price. So if you ask me who to hold responsible, the government is responsible for this. NNPC will not do anything contrary to government's wish. NNPC at the moment, NNPC itself is bleeding. NNPC also want to be free of this subsidy wahala. You are aware that the CBN just issued what I read, that in the last couple of months it's been zero forex from crude oil sales. So the government, we need to now ask the government, how much are we spending in subsidy payment in forex? The government need to defend that. How many liters are we consuming in a day? So the buck stop on the desk of the Minister of Petroleum, who happens to be the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the government, for me, is responsible for what is playing out because of policy inconsistency.
Now, if there is a situation like Mr. Okoronko has said, that the third party also need to make gains, and there are about over 21 or thereabout of these chain where the NNPC would have naturally distributed these products. But what could have been responsible for the inability of the NNPC to be able to distribute? Because if NNPC is able to distribute, I'm not sure we'll be in this conundrum.
NNPC has a product. NNPC is responsible for importation of the product. Now, the distribution network, don't forget that in many years ago, NNPC has depot across the country. But because of pipeline vandalization, it became very difficult for NNPC to now go ahead and have its distribution network to function properly. So what we now have tank farm owners. So when you have those tank farm owners, you now also have private sector play in the mix. So in having all of this play out in the mix, everybody, first thing you know, any businessman, they want to make profit. It's the responsibility of government to ensure that you don't make profit at the detriment of the Nigerians. And that's also why you have the regulatory authority, which is downstream and upstream, which was the former PPPROA. So the regulators will now come together, look at the various margin, and then that's how we arrive at those prices. Those are the responsibility of the regulators. Now, most times, attention and focus is on NNPC. If NNPC get the product income, also have the regulators. There are various players in this. So when these regulators come in, it's the regulators in conjunction with the various stakeholders that fixes the price of PMS. Nobody fixes the price for diesel. Diesel is based on market forces. But if government says we are going to subsidize petrol, then government goes ahead to do that. And the government says we can't shoulder this anymore. Government should also come out and tell us, oh, we can't shoulder this anymore. This is how much we can take. Making tough call is why you are elected as president or governor. It's not a cakewalk. So you have to make tough call, and this is where the president and those in authority should come out. Let Nigerians know if there are some parts of Lagos where you buy petrol as high as 240 naira. So you're already having those things built up. But if I'm to go by the pattern and the reading, this is built up towards price increase.
Now, before I come back to Mr. Okoronko, because tonight also is our ability to be able to proffer some solutions to this problem. Now, we thought, I mean, for some of us who are trying to be idealistic, and it's the right thing to do anyways, that the PIA and the new regime of that law will bring some sanity, especially to the downstream sector, in price variations and also in the administration of the products that are available. I mean, we know that the government has said by next year there is a provision that subsidy will go. But now, let's look at the situation. Is the PIA really making sense? Really is anything better from the PIA regime and when we did not have the law in place?
Sheon, I was struggling to hear your question. If you can repeat
can you hear me
question
now?
Again, I didn't hear you at all.
Yeah, so I was making, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh, great. So I was making reference to those of us who thought that when the PIA comes in place, especially in the downstream sector, there will be some feeling of sanitization of the entire environment, and probably Nigerians will have a feel of a better running of the sector. But from your own point of view, do you think that the PIA is doing the job that we thought that it could be doing? Is anything better in this regime of the PIA compared to when the law was not passed?
Well, I'm going to take you by the last thing you said previously. You were saying we should proffer solution, but I struggled to hear your question. But if we are going to proffer, if we are looking at proffering solution, yes, we have the PIA it's not really as detailed because a part of it also had to be suspended. But what we need to do first thing is, I'm happy that Dangote refinery is going to come upstream. We either come up towards the end of the year or the first quarter of next year. So first, with the coming up of Dangote refinery, that is going to completely knock off importation of petroleum products. So we will end up saving a lot of forex, and the pressure on forex will be taken out. Then the second step will be that NNPC will also now no longer be sole importer. Because when somebody becomes a sole importer, the transparency and the accountability will become suspect. So if Dangote comes up, NNPC will not become a sole importer, and then all marketers, retailers, everybody, you can get in your product, you can go to Dangote and get your product. Then the third aspect is we will now have to sit down and agree on the accurate amount that we'll pay for each of the PMS. And that is why I'm talking about government policy. It takes government to do that, to say, okay, we can no longer afford to subsidize because of the certain drain in our finances, or we can afford to subsidize. So the whole buck still come to government, whether this current administration or the next president that will be sworn in on the 29th of May. They must have a policy on how to deal with the oil and gas sector, and also to deal with this issue, so that it's becoming embarrassing for us every now and again to be having this scarcity.
All right, let me come to Mr. Okonkwo. If you could suggest one thing that could help us fix this problem today, what could that be? Or what would that be?
Thank you, Shehu. Private depot in Nigeria now is over 189 depots in Nigeria.
They are thriving.
Of course. Now, remember we have 21 depots of an NPC. Even my members are ready to pay whatever throughput charge. Let an NPC select from those private depots who can pay that charges extra. It doesn't take anything from us. So that maybe Port Harcourt depot, go to Bok, Aba depot, go to so-so, just Maiduguri, go so-so place in Calabar. That 21 depots, when you do something like that now and monitor the product, this thing will just go down immediately. I'm just telling you from a point of knowledge. Because when every depot is assessing their product, where they're supposed to assess it, there will be proper data capturing. People who are loading that product, you can monitor it to their filling station. The idea of, taking product outside Nigeria will reduce or if not stopped. Because from that depot, number of marketers that have loaded that day, it will be shown. And government agencies will now go to those filling stations and check if this product have actually got into that filling station. I think it's a simple thing.
But okay, so we look at
immediate solution.
Immediate solution. That's your preference. Good. So, and I hope someone is listening, because the solution is what we're really looking at. Mm-hmm. And so, for some who say, those school of thought that said those who have helped our refineries to break down, and that has led us to this point where we, as a giant oil producer, not only on the continent but across the world, in the league of oil-producing nations, we have become a laughing stock because we cannot refine the oil that we produce, and we have abundant. We are now discovering also in the northeastern region of the country. For those who have the school of thought that for those who have helped in crippling our refinery to the point that we now have to run abroad to go and refine, and now our NNPC cannot also pump because there is vandalism on NNPC pipeline. Could this be deliberate that for these third parties to thrive? Those who are thinking these, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but what are you thinking?
You see, situations when it comes, a lot of people might, leverage on it. But I'm just giving you solution that will nip in the bud what we are suffering now. Give Port Harcourt depot where they should go and load. All those private tank farm, you can hire it.
But if you fix the immediate, I'm talking about for those who believe, I don't know whether it is right, and I'll allow Mr. Esele to also comment.
No, let me tell you, because
why
now,
do we keep having situation that national facility and infrastructure are being destroyed every day? But when they are being destroyed, the immediate option is to go for third parties.
Good. Let me just tell you, Port Harcourt refinery pretty soon will come on stream. First quarter, we were told in the meeting we had
between January and March.
Good. Dangote, maybe second quarter. But we are talking something now that will be a breather.
Problem.
Low-hanging fruit. This product is here. Hey, get maybe even 10 depots for independent marketers. We have 80% of the spread. And monitor what you have given to us. This product will get to our filling stations. and these queues will just clear up.
Let me bring Mr. Esele back into the conversation. Mr. Esele, okay, I understand that he's gonna, but let me take some of your views that you've sent to me, because I was asking, I wanted to know what is happening in your area, and for example, in some other cities that that we know. So I'm getting some messages. For example, Chukudi on Twitter, Chukudi Anyanuka at Chujust1 says, it is a sorry situation in Enugu. Petrol is sold at 250 and 270 naira, driving fares over the roof and inflicting untold hardship on the people. This has also resulted in crushing money gridlocks at the bypass by NNPC mega station due to long fuel queues. It is brutish. That is from Chukudi. From Ayomi at Fearless-Don62 on Twitter, he said, it is disheartening and sardonic that Nigerians had to go through this rigorous and tedious process to get fuel. Imagine Nigeria as one of the top 10 oil-producing countries in the world. Our government derive pleasure in subjecting us to hardship. Posterity will judge them. There is Emmanuel Oko, who tweets at Oko. He says, I bought fuel at the rate of 280 per litre this morning at Ota in Ogun State. Thank you, Oko. Then Morakinyo Akinleye at Akin Morak on Twitter also tweeted to say that no doubt the fuel scarcity is in Abeokuta and other parts of Ogun State. The prices varies from 165 naira to 250 naira depending from the station you approach. It is unfortunate. There is also from Kaduna, Bashir, Muhammad Bashir tweeted to say, indeed, there are queues at almost every filling station here in Kaduna State. However, there are few at other filling stations with fewer queue, but are sold at 250 and 260 naira per litre. Let me take another one. This one is from Port Harcourt. And Femi Wale on Twitter, FO, says, I'm in Port Harcourt, there is no queue, and I bought petrol on my way home at 230 naira per litre. Good news for you. Very good one there. Adeniro Teniola also tweeted to say, the long queue is here in Akure, this is in Ondo State. Without hope of getting fuel, the fuel station are also selling at 250 naira per litre. Let me take another one from Jos. The fuel scarcity, according to Prince Austin OG at OGI Austin, he said the fuel scarcity is biting harder in Jos. It's being sold for 250 naira, yet we can even see long queues in the fuel station that has. These are some of the views of Nigerians. Let me get the final shot from Mr. Estelle. What is the way out? Just in 30 seconds.
From what I just saw on Twitter, it's very clear. What I expect the government to do, call stakeholders meeting. You can't say fuel can be sold at 175 based on the current price of crude, based on the naira to dollar price. And then you call the stakeholders meeting. If we are to sell a litre of petrol by the landing rate, a litre of petrol should be selling nothing less than 400 naira. So if government says, no, we can't accommodate 400 naira, it will cause too much hardship, then government can call stakeholders meeting and agree that, okay, this is how much we are going to sell. If we still want to sell at 175, fuel scarcity is going to continue. Thank you.
Mr. Peter Esele, former president of the Trade Union Congress, thank you so much indeed. And Mr. Chinedu Okoronko, the president of the Independent Petrol Marketers Association of Nigeria. Thank you so much for clearing the air for us tonight on the program.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show for tonight. Many Nigerians are as upset as I am tonight because if you have any blood flow in our veins, we should have some feeling that people are suffering. Even if you're not the one buying the fuel, you should see, if you are in the position of power and authority to fix things, that people are suffering. Nigerians are not finding this funny. Let those who are in power and who are in charge, who can fix things, get things done. That's why you are in that office. Well, that's how we leave it on the program tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Akimale. God bless Nigeria.